So I thought I'd do a head-to-head comparison between the DJI Mini 3 Pro and the DJI Mini 2, just to see which overall is the better drone. Now I'm going to talk about 7 points today, 7 points where we can compare and contrast these two drones, see what the differences and the similarities are and where one might be better than the other. And the 7 points are going to be the screen, the signal strength, the camera including the gimbal, the flight time with a standard battery, the speeds that both of these drones can reach, any special features that they have, like for example active tracking and waypoint missions, and finally the price. Using those 7 different topics will make a comparison. These are the 7 things that I think are probably the most important comparisons between the two. I will leave chapter links to each of these 7 sections, so feel free to skip between them all as you see fit. So first of all, let's have a look at the screens with both drones. On the DJI Mini 2, you have the RCN1 controller, which you would attach your own device with a screen to, for example, a phone or a tablet or an iPad. Now the quality of the screen is going to be determined by whichever device it is that you're using. On the RC, which is one of the options you get with the DJI Mini 3 Pro, you can also buy the RCN1 with it, but most people opt for the RC and you get a built-in screen. So this is the screen that you have. You can't attach another screen, so the resolution of this screen is what you have. Now let's do a comparison here. If you were to use an iPhone 14 Pro Max attached to the DJI RCN1, you will have a brightness level of 1000 nits in standard or 1600 nits in HDR. Compare that with the RC, which is 700 nits only. On a really bright day, it's going to be quite hard to see this screen. If you have an iPhone 14 Pro Max or similar with a screen that has nits of 1000 or even more, it's going to be much easier to see it. The resolution of the RC is 1080p. The maximum resolution you can have, regardless of the device you're using with the RCN1, is 720. But the size of the screen and the size of an iPhone, you're not going to see any difference between 720 and 1080p because the screen is so small, so they'll both look just as clear. One will look brighter than the other. That's just the way it is. With the Mini 2, you're restricted to using only the RCN1 and whatever device you're using. With the DJI Mini 3 Pro, you can use the RCN1 with a good display, or you can use the RC, or you can use the RC Pro, which gives you nits of 1000 and a resolution of 1080p. So overall on the screen, I'm going to call this one a draw. So what about the signal? Well, I've carried out many tests comparing the signal strength between the DJI Mini 2 and the RCN1 and the DJI RC and the Mini 3 Pro. And in every test that I've carried out, whether it be out in the open in a long range test or whether it be in a more urban environment with wireless interference, the RCN1 has outperformed the RC in every occasion. Whether you use the DJI Mini 3 Pro or the DJI Mini 2. So if we're comparing like with like and we're comparing the RCN1 with the Mini 2 and the RC with the Mini 3 and we're looking at the strength, I'm going to give this win to the RCN1 and the Mini 2. So let's talk about the cameras. The sensor on the DJI Mini 3 Pro is 1 over 1.3 inch CMOS sensor. On the Mini 2 it's a 1 over 2.3 CMOS sensor. Better sensor on the Mini 3. The effective pixels on the Mini 2 are 12 megapixels. On the Mini 3, effective pixels are 48 megapixels. Mini 3 wins again. The field of view is 83 degrees on the Mini 2. It's 82.1 on the Mini 3, so a slightly wider field of view on the Mini 2. The aperture is f1.7 on the Mini 3 and it's f2.8 on the Mini 2. So in low light, the Mini 3 is going to give you better results. The Mini 3 also has a rotating camera that can be switched to portrait mode. It also has a gimbal that can rotate up to 60 degrees, whereas the Mini 2 can only rotate up to 20 degrees. It doesn't have a portrait camera. So I have to give this win to the Mini 3 as far as the camera and the gimbal goes. So what about flight time with a standard battery? The standard battery in the Mini 2 will give you 31 minutes of flight according to DJI's website, and the Mini 3 Pro will give you 34 minutes of flying time according to DJI website, which is only 3 minutes more. I've tested this in reality. You don't get anywhere close to 34 minutes or 31 minutes. However, the DJI Mini 3 Pro battery does last longer than the Mini 2. You can also buy the Battery Plus, which is this one here, for the Mini 3 Pro, which will increase your flight time considerably. So as far as flight time goes, the Mini 3 wins this one. So what about the flying speeds? Well, the maximum flying speed in cinematic mode on both drones is 6 meters per second. The maximum flying speed in normal mode for both drones is 10 meters per second. And the maximum flying speed in sports mode for both drones is 16 meters per second. We have to call that one a draw. Extra features. Both drones have quick shots and other features that are automated that are, in my opinion, more of a gimmick than anything. You can get much steadier and better footage if you actually carry out one of those automatic moves manually by hand. However, there are two features that I think are pretty useful, and that is active tracking. Now, the Mini 3 as standard comes with active tracking and obstacle avoidance to the front, to the rear and downward. There's no upward obstacle avoidance and there's no sideways obstacle avoidance, but it does have active track. The Mini 2 doesn't have active track as standard, and it doesn't have any obstacle avoidance other than downward sensors. However, you can use a third-party app like Maven or Litchi or Rainbow or DroneLink that will give you the ability to active track with the Mini 2, even though it doesn't have obstacle avoidance, so you may have to pay a bit more attention when you're active tracking with the Mini 2 than you do with the Mini 3. What about waypoints? Well, the Mini 3 has no built-in function to use waypoints at all. However, the Mini 2 can be used for a waypoint mission if you use a third-party app like Maven or Litchi or DroneLink. If you have an RC Pro, it accepts third-party apps. You can download DroneLink. It costs about £60, and then the Mini 3 will have access to waypoints, but that means that you have to buy the RC Pro at £900 plus another £60 for DroneLink. With the Mini 2 to get waypoints, all you have to do is buy Maven or Litchi, about £25. I have to give this win to the Mini 2. The final thing we'll look at in this comparison, number 7, the price. Okay, how do these compare? You can't buy a DJI Mini 2 new at the moment. They're out of stock and they won't be back in stock from DJI's website. You can pick a second-hand one up that's in perfect condition with a fly more kit for £369 from various internet shops. The Mini 3 you can only buy new. Some people may sell it second-hand, but the price they'll be asking for is pretty much the same as a new one. To buy the DJI Mini 3 on its own with no remote controller, you would do this if you already had a Mini 2 and you decided to use the RCN1 with it, and the Fly More kit, it would cost you £798. If you wanted to buy a brand new DJI Mini 3 Pro and you didn't have a Mini 2 and you wanted the RCN1 with a fly mode kit, it would cost you £868. And if you wanted to go for the DJI Mini 3 Pro with a fly mode kit and the RC with the screen, it would cost you £928. So fly mode kit, RCN1, RCN1, 369, 868. I have to give this win to the Mini 2. So there you have it. In my opinion, both of these drones are overall as good as each other. The Mini 3 has a few benefits over the Mini 2. The Mini 2 has a few benefits over the Mini 3, which I think balance them out. The only way that the Mini 3 can become the outright and overall winner is if you pair it with the RC Pro, because this will then allow you to have waypoint missions and a much stronger signal, and that then would take your Mini 3 to a position where it beats the Mini 2 overall. I'd love to hear what you think about my analysis and what you think is the better drone overall of the two, so leave a comment and let me know what you think. Thanks a lot. I'll see you in the next one.